You didn't twist your ankle this time, did you?
Okay, call this meeting to order, January 11th, 2024. We're going to pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Everybody, thanks for coming and visiting us tonight. If you didn't sign in, please sign in the back so we know who was here. We're going to start out with a couple presentations, and then we'll move into our regular, lots of our regular meetings. From Massanutten Regional Library, we have Zach Elder here. Tell us about the library.
Good evening, everybody.
It's just
It
recorded.
just records, yeah. All right. And I'll go quickly because I know you all have quite the agenda tonight. So thank you all for letting us talk briefly about the library and sort of state of the library presentation. I'll just hit some of the highlights that are in the fact sheet that Austin got to you all. First, I want to thank Town of Timberville Council for supporting Massanutten Regional Library, as you have done for a long, long time through the past. And I wanted to share the exciting news that folks are coming back after the pandemic, specifically to the Village Library. The greatest jump in circulation percentage-wise in the last year was Village Library, 31% more items circulated. And across the whole system, we got back over 700,000 books, DVDs, backpacks, nature backpacks and things checked out throughout the system. So I wanted to say thank you all for that. We also, I just want to take a moment or two to increase sort of the awareness of the resources of Massanutten Regional Library, that we're not just books in 2024. We have, at our central library, we now circulate a community gear library of camping gear and helping people get outdoors equitably. A family camping kit for a family of four could cost about $600 to $700 to get all the equipment. They can check it out at our library for free. We also have online resources that can help keep our community financially fit. We have financial literacy, free resources there. We offer Canopy now, online streaming service, and also there's a ton of kids educational entertainment on there, Canopy Kids. And the majority of our online resources go towards our student success in our schools. We offer Learning Express, which offers live virtual tutoring for folks, educational support, even offers curriculum for those students, those families that maybe homeschool families. So those are just a few of the highlights that I want to touch on. And then lastly, I wanted to focus on how Massanutten Regional Library is funded, because I get questions from that all the time. And we are, one of the things that we need to improve upon, and we're working very well with our localities to improve upon, is our governmental funding. So our governmental funding is one of the lower ones for this for the state of Virginia. Currently we're ranked 92nd out of 94 in terms of governmental funding. And what that means for us is that we're doing so much great stuff already, but we could be doing more. And one of the things that impacts is state aid to libraries. So one of the reasons that I want to thank Town Council for supporting us is that the money that you send to us every year counts almost double. Because it comes from a governmental entity, we get to count that towards our state aid to libraries. And so for every dollar that comes from a governmental agency, that goes into the formula so that the state will provide us more money. And we've been working really well with our state legislators to increase state aid in the past several years. So that's been really beneficial, and I just want to thank you all for that. At this point, I just wanted to touch base, give you all the chance, a minute or two, to ask any questions that you might have about the library system.
Do I have any questions for Zach?
Then I'll go quickly now. And with a plug, we have we have a great program coming up this Sunday at the Plains District Museum, where author Carl Rhodes is going to talk about his historical novel, Peggy's War. It's going to have a lot of great themes about the Underground Railroad and a lot of ties to to this area. So that's an exciting thing from 2 to 4 at the Plains District Museum, and I hope we can have a great turnout for everyone.
Thank you. And next,
I want to thank Zach and Barbara for the services that they offer, and also for participating in the Winter Festival, because they came and set up that second day with materials and gave out books and stuff at the Winter Festival. So it's nice to have you all involved in those events that occur in Timberville too. So thank you all.
We love being part of the community.
thank you guys.
And one other very quick note, so the program is at 2 at the Plains Museum on Sunday, and although the author is going to talk a lot about his novel Peggy's War, he's also done a lot of research on John Klein. He's going to focus his talk at the museum on his research on Elder John Klein. So if you know of people who have an interest in John Klein, it's also a great opportunity to learn more about John Klein. And a lot of you probably know that John Klein is buried near here, and that his homestead is in Broadway. So come on out, 2 o'clock at the museum.
Okay. There's Barbara knowing more about history than me already. That's normal.
Okay. Next, we have Joyce here with Virginia Program of Aging Services, or VPAS.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it is Valley Program for Aging Services, but at least you didn't
AC
say.
wrote it wrong, so I read it wrong.
At least you didn't say
All right.
Virginia Program for
I read
the
that wrong.
Aged. We get that a lot too. That's not
I blame it
great.
on Melinda.
So thank you for inviting me. I wanted to share with you a little bit about VPAS, what we do, what we do differently now that we've come through the pandemic, which I wish I never had to talk about again, but it is a reality and it has changed how we do our work. I also want to thank you for the donations that you give to VPAS and for the services that we can provide here as a result of that. So Valley Program for Aging Services serves people who are 60 years of age and older, regardless of their income. And it is a needs-based program. So if somebody needs Meals on Wheels or senior transportation, they have to be homebound, but they don't have to have a certain income level. Other people might come to our cafes or our Aging with Confidence programs, which would be Tai Chi or watercolor painting or cooking for 1 or 2 or whatever else that seems of interest to the community. We have cafes here at the Plains District Community Center twice a month, and the attendance is small. We're hoping that will grow with more knowledge. I will say on a side note that the attendance is small but larger than it was pre-pandemic. So attendance had decreased significantly before the pandemic as well. VPAS has also invested a lot of resources in caregiver support and dementia education. We have found that more and more people are caring for their loved ones at home and trying to do it on their own and realizing that they don't have the resources that they need. So we can help provide support groups, education, and connections. And that is the one thing that I think VPAS does incredibly well, is that we have a case manager who is full-time in service to the areas north of Harrisonburg, including Timberville, Broadway, Fulks Run, Lacey Springs, that area. And she does a lot of work with families who just don't really know where to turn. They don't know how to navigate aging. A lot of people say they don't need our services until it's an emergency, and then they don't really know how to begin. And so our case managers can sit down with them, whether they have resources or not. Sometimes resources, financial resources aren't the only barrier to getting service. And so how do you talk with someone who just simply doesn't want anyone, a stranger coming into their home, or doesn't want help from other people, or doesn't know how to ask? And so our case managers do a lot of that kind of work. We offer some respite vouchers for caregivers so they can have a break and pay somebody. We have had to discontinue in-home caregiver or care support services, homemaker services, because many of you might know that that industry struggles to find people to work for them. And so the cost went up, the required amount of hours per visit went up, and it just priced us out of helping in that way. And so we do a telephone checking service, we offer some other kinds of support, but we have had to back off of that. So here in Timberville, we're looking for ways to communicate better with the 60 and over crowd, and find ways to help them connect with VPAS so that we can provide programming. We can't go back to the level of programming that we had pre-pandemic. It's not feasible based on the costs of salaries and expenses and the other things that we provide, especially because funding hasn't kept up with that. But we do have good case management. We have 4 Meals on Wheels routes up in this area. Amazing volunteers from this area, so if you're one of them or you know one, thank them for me. And we just continue to look for ways that we can help older adults and their families age well, give them the resources and opportunities they need. The other thing that I just want to add is that as director for Harrisonburg and Rockingham County, it's really important to me that we teach interdependence. A lot of us want to be independent, we want to do it all ourselves. And really, I believe that interdependence is the highest form of independence, because if you're going to do it all yourself, you're probably going to miss something. But if you're going to allow other people to come in and help where you need services, then that's the way that we can age well. And just so, you know, we all think about it in the same way. We all started aging the day we were born, and so really don't like the word older or aged, but I did find out that I meet all the HUD requirements for being an elderly person. And that was a little bit eye-opening, you know, at 62, here I am, and I meet those requirements. And so it's, you know, we need to start thinking about them even before we think we need it. I've gone really quickly through this. I wanted to add, we also do Medicare counseling. We see a lot of people, save a lot of people money with that. And we offer something called Opening Minds Through Art, where we bring people living with dementia in to do art, and their caregivers can go out and have some time to themselves. Amazing, amazing process to watch people become verbal when they weren't before. So just a lot of fun things that we're doing. It's just that we look different than we did before. I did bring along some impact reports for Harrisonburg and Rockingham County, if you're interested. I also brought flyers. There's been requests for Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention, so we have that scheduled April through May. I have flyers for that if anyone's interested. And then the last thing I just wanted to focus on is that we are working really hard from here in Rockingham County all the way down to Rockbridge, Augusta, Baton, Highland counties, which is our service area, to become a dementia-friendly community. And what that means would take me a lot longer than this to explain to you, but I did bring some brochures about it. And if you know of anyone who is has family members living with dementia or early stage dementia, I brought something along. It's free. It's called the Dementia Roadmap. A lot of people call it the Roadmap to Dementia, and we don't really want people to think about it that way, right? So I did bring some of these along. I have more available if anyone would want them. It's a great early resource. And I encourage you to direct people to our website, because that's where most of this information is. Again, your contributions to VPAS allow us to keep sending case managers up here to do Meals on Wheels and all of the things that we do here, including memory partners with the library. So it's pretty cool that they are here tonight. Did you have any questions for me?
Anybody have questions?
I actually do. When you were talking about trying to reach members of the community that aren't aware that VPAS is a resource, have you done any kind of outreach to like my generation who is now suddenly finding themselves responsible for aging parents? Because I only know about VPAS's existence because a lifetime ago, I worked in the nonprofit sector, but did transportation coordination. And so we partnered with VPAS to make sure that there were a lot, you know, everyone had a ride to doctor's appointments and things like that. But my question is, you know, do you have a program, like a standing, I don't know, it's something that would talk to people who are like in our position where we're like, we have the two generations. We've got the generation we're raising and the one that raised us that we're feeling responsible for. And sometimes for us, you know, convincing our parents to be open to help is one thing, but we're not exactly sure where to start. So I didn't know if there was any kind of program or anything that you had to help us learn how to make the most of what you offer.
That's a great question, and one of the things that we run into is people don't know how you define a caregiver. Like, are you a caregiver when you do?
Right, like I don't live with my parents, but if they need help with something, it's my husband and myself that they call.
Right, and so you are a caregiver. It doesn't mean that you put out their meds and, you know, give them a bath. That's not the only definition of caregiver. We do have some resources on social media. We have also tried to do caregiver support for like a virtual support group for your situation. Have never been successful with getting enough people who want to commit because quite frankly, you don't have time either.
Oh, I know, I don't.
I mean, you and
Right.
and who you represent. And so it's really important for us to figure out, driving people to our website, we have frequently asked questions and all that, but our funding allows us to serve people who care for people who are 60 and over, not just caregivers who are 60 and over. So if you would call our office and you would connect with Heather or myself, we would be glad to talk you through that. And I'll put it out there, if you ever want to organize a group, I would love to come talk to you.
I'll be in touch.
Yep.
Anybody ask a question? I went to the cafe a couple months ago,
Yes, you
and I think it's funny, my wife said, I signed you up for the cafe. I said, I'm way too young for that. I'm 2 years past being old enough. So I definitely was there. I didn't want to admit it, but I was there. But I'll get back, because I had a good time there.
My mom used to volunteer with the Meals on Wheels, and that's like one of the first, like the earliest volunteer experiences that I can remember as a kid was like helping her deliver Meals on Wheels during the summertime. So I think it's fantastic and it inspires public service and young kids and all that stuff.
It is great. And the other thing that happens is if somebody is socially isolated, you know, can't really get out a whole lot, we have people who pair up with them and they ride along and maybe don't even help a whole lot, but they get to spend an hour and a half or so with somebody else and interact. And so there are a lot of benefits. We are hoping to get a third day, a Thursday for delivery. So right now it's Monday and Wednesday. People get 2 meals on Monday, 3 on Wednesday. Valley Village group in Harrisonburg is trying to recruit enough volunteers through their organization to staff another day. So stay tuned for that.
And if you have anything you want to leave, any of the materials, we can put them out in the front foyer too,
Okay.
that people can take. So,
All right, I'll just leave them out there on my.
you know, or you can put them on Melinda's desk over there.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for everything you do.
And
Appreciate it.
thank you for your support. And just let me know if there's anything else you need.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll move down. I guess I'll. Oh, yeah, you guys don't, if the ones, Joyce and Zach, you guys don't have to hang around if you don't want to. I mean, you're welcome.
As much as we love y'all's company.
Yeah, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
I'll come join you for another meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
No, all of Rockingham County.
Sure. Yeah. So we're gonna have 2 more public hearings this evening. One on the Glow Fiber franchise agreement and one on the BZA creation. So you
Gotta do them one at a time.
Yeah, you tell about what's going on.
Yep. So for the Glow Fiber agreement, several years ago, we adopted an ordinance to grant a franchise to Shenandoah Cable, whatever, Shentel, for them to do fiber optics in town, which they've been doing some?
Yeah, there's been a lot.
A lot, right? So what we're doing now is granting them the same ability in the same right-of-ways within the town to put cable television cables. So right now, I think the only franchise we have is with Comcast
Right.
for TV, so this would give everyone in town another option. There is an agreement which was circulated, multiple pages, which I've reviewed and been over in negotiations with Shintel over, and then an ordinance that was circulated as well. Basically what it does on the town, there's no liability on behalf of the town, we're just granting our public right-of-way access, anything the town has access to, for them to put cables related to poles or whatever it is that they need related to utilities, because they have not been granted that utility access. So they're piggybacking on the town's access. Any questions, concerns, or comments related to the legality of anything? I'm happy to answer for council members or the public.
We'll open up to any public, any questions or comments on the Glo Fiber franchise agreement? Can't imagine there's gonna be a lot. Okay. And I'll close that public hearing. And do we have to have a motion, do we have to vote on that?
Yep.
Okay, so we need a motion to adopt the Glo Fiber franchise agreement, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second,
Okay. Any further discussion? Go around the room.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, now, ready for, can we sign this one here?
Yeah, we can sign them all.
Okay. Now we have public hearing on the BZA creation, and I'll let you give the history.
Sure. So, for a long time, we have had a joint BZA, which is the Board of Zoning Appeals with the town of Broadway. Broadway has been under 3,500 residents. The town of Timberville has been under 3,500 residents. The way the Virginia Code states is once a town goes over 3,500 residents, they can have their own independent BZA if they wish. Towns less than 3,500 residents can have a joint BZA with another town if they so wish. So this whole time, we could have had our own independent BZA, but we felt like it made the most sense pulling citizens from Timberville and citizens from Broadway so that there was some fairness when it came to zoning appeal decisions. Broadway is now over 3,500 residents, and so they have to have their own independent BZA. So they have gone through the process already to establish their own independent BZA, so what we need to do is adopt a Timberville-specific BZA. The way I have drafted the ordinance is to omit the sections in our ordinance. This is specifically in the Land Development Regulations, section 804, omitting any reference to Broadway. So we don't have to reenact the BZA, we don't have to reenact any ordinances. We're only making amendments so that it's just the Timberville BZA. Section 805 and section 806 remain in their entirety. Those are the rules governing how the BZA operates, how they interact with the public. We don't need to change those, it's the same rules. All we're doing is omitting anything in reference to Broadway. And so that's why the version that got selected, you only see under 804, I think it was 804 specifically, and then 804.03 is where it says, shall be a member of the Planning Commission of Timberville. That was a reference to Broadway. Other than that, everything pretty much stays the same. Anything you want to add from your experience on the BZA?
No, sir.
Okay. Again, boring legal stuff. He nods.
I like legal stuff. So what is this one? Are we just voting to amend it?
We're voting to, this is an ordinance to amend and reenact section 804 et sec of the Land Development Regulations of the town of Timberville. To
Okay.
establish an independent board of zoning appeals and making transitional provisions for BZA matters.
So I want one of y'all to repeat that.
You just need to, you gotta have the public meeting, you gotta have the public hearing.
Okay, sorry, I was excited about hearing someone repeat it. Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone have any questions on the BZA creation? Not like we have a lot of choice in the matter. So any questions on the BZA creation? Okay, we'll close that public hearing. Now,
Yeah, you all know the cheat sheet. You just say, I move to adopt the ordinance as presented.
I move to adopt the ordinance as presented.
See?
I had amend and reenact, and then I got lost.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, go around the room.
Yes.
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 Awesome. Okay, now we're to the regular town council meeting.
While we're going, I'm gonna circulate the certificate of votes, the one for each, just find your name, sign above it.
Okay, everyone got a copy of the minutes? Are there any questions and changes or amendments, right, to the minutes that were given in your packet? If there are none, you need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Sarah, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Debbie. Any further discussion? Okay, go around the room.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, everyone got a copy of the treasurer's report. Any questions for Melinda? Okay, I see the PD ARPA money hasn't showed up yet.
It was approved though, but it has not came in.
Awesome, awesome. So now we'll go back up in a little while.
Once you receive it, yep.
Okay, thank you. Copy of bills for payment. Any questions on the bills? I'm keeping track of the trash and stuff, and it's fairly loaded this time, so that's very good. Any questions on any of the bill and line items? I need a motion to
I
approve.
make a motion, we pay the bills.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Further discussion? Go around the room.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay. Chief is in training this week, and he sent everybody a report, and I'm assuming if you have questions, just send Chief a note.
Here's the other page.
Oh, okay.
Luke's here.
R.S. Luke, you want to answer on
I would refer to the same thing. Contact chief.
Okay, so just check in with Chief if you have any questions. Public Works, AC, do you want to do it or do you want to have Chris do it?
Well, Chris sent out his memo. I've got a few other things on top of that. You want to do it, Chris? I was just messing with you. So our members of the maintenance crew were out during this past Saturday's weather event addressing the road conditions. They logged 3 hours of spreading salt and a little over 6 hours of pushing the mixture of snow, sleet, freezing rain that accumulated on the roadways. And did a great job as always. Quentin, Don, and I met with representatives for a family that is trying to settle an estate on Church Street. There's been a question for quite some time about the legal status of access to certain parcels of the land. Quentin is researching the materials that have been provided to the town to try to confirm if that access does in fact exist. If the information is satisfactory to the town, the family will be able to sell the property, and we expect it will be developed with a small number of single-family dwellings. So it's been in the process for quite some time trying to get the information that we've been looking for. The front office is just coming out of tax collection season, and they are now in the middle of collecting water bills, so it's the end of the year, keeps them hopping. On top of that, they also have quite a few year-end reports that they're working on getting submitted, along with some new reporting requirements that we've found out about in the past couple days, and so it's more to add primarily to Melinda's plate. So she's thrilled about that.
Sure she is.
And there was something you just mentioned. I was going to. I don't remember what it was now. And at this time of the year, at the end of each calendar year, I always like to tally up the number of missed utility tickets that have come through the office that the town responded to. I think Chris has been doing that on his report for each month, but I do it for the year as a whole. And I'm going to go back to 2015. So for the past 9 years, starting with that year, I'm just going to run down through the numbers here. 342, 302, 352, 348, 238, 282, 434 in 2021, 269 last year or in 2022. And does anybody want to venture a guess as to what it was in 2023? 711.
Is that because of the glow fiber?
Glow fiber was a huge contributor to that, yeah, but it does, but anytime we get the utility tickets in, we still have to respond to them. And a lot of times that does, and a lot of those were not repeat tickets that the maintenance crew had to go out and actually locate and mark and respond to. So, you know, it's great getting new services in town, but it does have its effects on the town staff as far as the workload increase. So, but they do a great job, and we've had, I think they've been doing pretty good, Chris, as far as the installation goes. I mean, we've had a few utilities that have been hit that they've responded to and they've corrected them. A couple of more hours and
Everything, they've been very well, I mean, worked really well with us and getting it corrected, so, and it's usually just a phone call and somebody's out there for us.
yeah,
So it's, you know, it's been very minimal for all of what they've had to do,
yeah.
but, yeah, they're doing great.
Yeah. And that's all that I can think of to put in my report, unless anybody has any questions.
Melinda always does it with a smile.
Business and industry, PC. We had our public hearing for Tractor Supply before this meeting. And anything new about the corner down here?
Nothing, no, we haven't been approached by anybody yet on that. There has been a lot of activity at the old drugstore. Lots of cleaning up that's going on, so there must have been a lot to kind of haul out of the building. But as soon as we know something for sure, we'll make it public, so.
Okay. Okay, on the Parks and Rec, the bathroom contract that's been awarded,
It was awarded,
so we're good on that.
It was awarded by council. Council voted to award. Quentin and I need to get together and come up with the physical contract to get with them. And then it's just falling behind for the, all the other stuff that was going on at the end of the year.
Get that out there, because it'd be nice to have it come springish,
Yeah.
if we can.
And our, more props to the maintenance crew, with all the heavy rain, the boat launch, fared well through that. So.
It's back to normal level, finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, finance, nothing right now, AC? It'll be coming up in a couple months?
Yeah, we're still working on getting the last bits of the financial report ironed out, and then we'll get copies of that. Hopefully get that. Hopefully we'll be able to get that in the next week or week and a half, and then get that distributed to council, and then we can start working on budget stuff.
Okay. Personnel,
BZA appointments.
yes.
Yes.
Right now, we currently have Michael Gray, Kevin Farmer, and Todd Thomas.
On the joint BZA, so we need to vote to appoint them to the newly created Timberville only BZA.
Okay.
Is Todd actually, has the paperwork actually gone through for Todd's? Or?
I don't know if we have an order yet. Did we vote to appoint him already?
We did, but he wasn't.
I don't think he's been appointed yet.
Okay, yeah.
So I think you should just vote to appoint them,
All
just so
three?
we can clean it all up.
Okay.
Because the way it works is, council has to vote to appoint people to the boards. Then for the BZA, it's a judicial act, so the court has to approve the BZA members. The problem is, the way that we have always done it with Broadway is that we submit minutes back and forth, and it's an appointment to the joint BZA. So all of the court paperwork is appointing them to a joint BZA. So that's why I'm asking council to reappoint them to the BZA as amended by our ordinance earlier tonight, just to clean it all up. I'll work with AC on the terms of who has so many years left to make sure that they're staggered, so we don't lose everybody all at the same time. But I think it'll just be cleaner as we move forward.
Okay. So we need a motion to appoint Michael Gray, Kevin Farmer, and Todd Thomas to the Timberville BZA.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Sarah, any further discussion? Go around the room?
Yes.
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 Okay, and Sharon, you said you don't have a,
Well, the museum, they recorded it. So, and then it's on the Underground Railroad, and then next month it's on slavery in the valley, so.
awesome. Other business. Council have anything else to bring up right now? Okay. Public comment. Anybody here join us, want to make a comment? Come on up, introduce yourself. Now's your time.
You don't want anybody.
Kudos to the maintenance people for doing a great job on the streets.
Definitely. I thought it was gonna be a long meeting. It's
That's good.
We're on a roll.
we've flown through this.
I thought we were.
And if there's no public comment, then thank you everybody for joining us, and it's a record meeting. Thank you.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Well, you didn't-